What's up, y'all? It's the Pitre podcast. We are back for another week. In this episode, we are going to be talking about OnlyFans. Yeah, we're going to have this discussion, man, unfortunately. Listen, I'm going to be straight up right off the bat. I did do a lot of evidence with OnlyFans OnlyFans, who created it, why it was created, its original intended purpose, how many people are on it, what's the gender ratio between men and women, what's the age ratio, all of that, how much is the average person making, all that good stuff, right? So we're going to be going over that in depth and like my personal opinion as far as is OnlyFans good and or bad for society? I think we can anonymously say that it is bad for society. I don't think anyone agrees that OnlyFans is good or it's helpful for society. I think it has more negative ramifications than it does positive ramifications. So, listen, we're going to go over that in depth, right? So I want to shoot from the top because sun's going down, big guy. Hope you guys get the reference there. And I want it to get dark in here because the lighting is pretty good so far. Okay, so OnlyFans, right? As a disclaimer, I've never subscribed to OnlyFans ever. Swear to God. Never subscribed it. Never had an OnlyFans charge in my account. Never will. It's just, I'm against it. I'm not going to lie to you. So this is going to be very biased as far as not in favor of OnlyFans, not in favor of OnlyFans being so prominent within American society. So just a heads up there, if you're someone who is pro OnlyFans, this episode is probably going to piss you off, just is what it is. But yeah, never subscribe, never will subscribe, and I will be going into why you shouldn't subscribe. If you haven't, or if you have, why you should probably unsubscribe. Okay, so OnlyFans. When it was created, who created it, right? So it was founded November 2016, which I didn't expect it to be this old. I could have sworn I started seeing OnlyFans or like it being talked about during like the COVID era. Okay, so the creator, Tim Stokely, British entrepreneur. Gotta love the Brits, right? So the company OnlyFans was launched by Stokely's company, Phoenix International, with a small startup loan. Initially, the site was aimed to let creators directly monetize exclusive content and fan interactions like tutorials, fitness tips, art, similar to Patreon, right? So it wasn't a site for whores, right? And when I say whores, I'm meaning both men and women, because men and women both create, exclusive adult-rated content on OnlyFans. It's not just women doing it, as a stereotype there. But it wasn't a site that was created for whores, right? It was a site that was created for individuals to basically do exclusive content for their fans, right? And it was more so on the PG side rather than just putting your titties out onto OnlyFans and fucking get people to subscribe, right? So its original intended purpose wasn't nasty. So at first, the platform was not primarily adult-oriented. It was meant to help creators, musicians, influencers, educators earn more money directly by charging fans for content. So in 2017, they did lift a ban on explicit content, which changed the platform's trajectory significantly. So at first, that first year, they were like, yo, we're going to keep it PG. Now, their revenue was probably garbage that first year in 2016. I don't have the exact revenue breakdown year after year after year, but I can assume that first year, one, it being that first year, and two, it's not a lot of people who are going to subscribe to that kind of PG-related content. You have to have a really big kind of fan base in order for people to even subscribe to that content to begin with. So an influencers really wasn't a thing that much back then. I feel like influencing really blew up after or post-COVID. During 2017, yeah, you had influencers and yeah, you had vloggers and stuff, but it wasn't nowhere near as popular as it is now. So I can assume that the revenue generated in 2016, keeping it PG, was horrendous, and that's the reason why they switched to just letting anyone do anything on OnlyFans, essentially, right? So later, OnlyFans became known mostly for adult and NSFW content, although it only supports fitness modeling, music, comedy, other creator content now, right? So it's not just the adult stuff, right? You can find other people that are posting wholesome content on OnlyFans, just that primarily OnlyFans is used for that non-wholesome content. So how many users, creators, and at scale? So there's a variation in reporting figures, right? So I couldn't really narrow it down as far as what the exact numbers goes, right? So the registered fan accounts, there's more registered fan accounts than creator accounts, obviously. So this actually is actually pretty fucking scary. So there's anywhere between 305 and 378 million fan accounts worldwide. That's how many people are using OnlyFans. Granted, I don't know how accurate that number is, right? When I look through the sources, that's generally what I found the number to be. That's a lot of people. That's what? 1/18th of the human population? Actually, I don't even think, I think it's less than that. It might be like one. It's definitely not. It's between 1/10 and 1/15th of the human population that's utilizing this stupid fucking platform. That's wild. That's fucking insane. Like, when you really think about that, and of course, not all of them are subscribing to like X-rated content, but most of them are, and that's fucking discouraging. So active creators, right? There's between 4 and 4.6 million content creators. 4 to 4.6 million content creators. That's insane. So fans per creator ratio. So there's 74 fans per creator. So many accounts, fans, subscribers are not creators. Creators typically make up only a few percent of the total accounts, right? Obviously, that's just how it is. So revenue and money flow. So the platform revenue, so OnlyFans takes 20% commission and the creators earn 80% of the revenue, right? So it's an 80-20 split. Now, as far as that breakdown, I don't think that breakdown is actually too bad. I think that breakdown is fine. As far as, you putting your content on this platform that is the biggest platform of its kind in the world, they're letting you do it, and then they're taking the 20% split. I'm not going to feel bad for OnlyFans creators, 20% of the revenue being taken from them. Like, if you're posting exclusive content posting your goods, man or woman, don't get me wrong, for the world to see, and 20% is being skimmed off the top, yo, I don't feel bad for you, bro. Like, no one's gonna cry for you, my dude. I'm sorry. So the reported revenue jumped from 49 million in 2019 to over 1.3, 1.4 billion by 2023, 2024, and that number is only rising. So fans spent roughly $7+ billion in gross payments in recent years, right? Creator earnings. So the average creator income is often reported in $150 to $180 a month, right? Let's do that breakdown yearly. So we're going to take the median. We're going to do 170 multiplied by 12. So they're making about $2,000 a month, which is, selling your body online to only make $2,000 is kind of sad. I mean, a year, excuse me. So that is skewed by many small content creators, right? So the top creators can earn huge sums, obviously, tens of thousands to millions per year. Some earners have reported $20+ million annually, which is insane. Average revenue per user, right? ARPU. So the ARPU, unfortunately, is not public. If fans are spending billions of dollars, there are hundreds of millions of users. That suggests that most pay small amounts, and smaller core fans spend more of the subscriptions, tip, pay-per-view content, bundles, etc. So unfortunately, we can't really see the numbers of how many fans are being spent per user. But as you can imagine, with that many fucking content creators and that many fans around the world, average user spend can't be that much, right? I think there's going to be a big disparity between what's usually being spent per user versus like the fucking top users who are wasting all their money on this. So user and creator demographics, right? So who the fuck is creating this content? So the creators are 70 to 84% female on the platform. So it's mostly women, right? Fans, users 60 to 79% men. So there's mostly men, right? So there's women selling this subscription based. I'm trying to think of like a nice word or a nice terminology to use for it, but basically they're selling their goods online. It's mostly men that are buying it, right? I think we all kind of knew that from the jump. We all kind of expected that, but it's just so crazy to see it being put into numbers. So what's the age, right? So who's making this stuff? How old are you? So the age. The largest fan groups are typically 18 to 34 or 25 to 44-year-olds and tens of millions of young adults using the platform. So the creator average age is often reported from early 20s to early 30s, right? So that like 10 to 15-year gap there. So geography. Where are the fans and creators from? So the top users are United States, but you also have notable mentions in Brazil, United Kingdom, Paraguay, Bangladesh. Damn. Bangladesh is getting freaky. I wasn't expecting that one. So creator counts by country, right? So the U.S., 1.1 million creators. So most of the creators are in the U.S. But you also have the U.K., Canada, Australia, Germany, Brazil, also higher numbers, right? Donations and spending patterns. So on OnlyFans, fans not only subscribe, they pay monthly subscriptions, they send tips, they buy pay-per-view content, they purchase bundles and custom content, right? Large spenders, super tippers, people who are spending top dollars on their favorite creators, often contribute substantially more, and overall gross payments exceed platform revenue by several billions a year. Now, I want to transition. Into some breaking news, unfortunately, from the Trump administration, bro. Like, how can it get worse? You know, like. We've just been getting hit with nonstop bullshit over the past year, and it's just progressively getting worse. Like, nothing is being in favor of the American people and what's being passed in this legislation. Now, the Trump administration, right? There's a specific visa that allows not necessarily content creators, but like artists or people with a platform to get a visa in the United States, right? It's similar to like a H-1B visa. So it's called a O-1B visa, right? So it allows, artists or influential people to come to America, right? Now, the bulk of these visas are going to OnlyFans models because part of the visa, and I'm going to listed here, right? So the U.S. temporary work visa for individuals with extraordinary ability in the arts. How is being an OnlyFans model, part of the arts? I don't know. So recent reporting says that digital content creators, including social influencers and OnlyFans models, increasingly are applying for O-1B visas, and they're the ones that are getting the O-1B visas. Using metrics like follower counts, revenue, brand deals, audience to reach part of their application process, right? So basically, listen, America just cares about money. If you don't really know that, America only cares about money. That's the only thing this fucking country cares about, right? Is revenue. How much can you bring to the table? So these content creators say, hey, I have 100,000 followers. I have OnlyFans. I have 20,000 subscribers. They're paying $5 a month. You do the math. I can be an asset into your country as far as like spend and investing into America, right? And of course, America doesn't give a shit how you got the money. As long as you have the money, you can get in. So they're like, you have influence. Let's fucking bring you over. And it's like, listen, do we really want to bring these people over? And I know I'm kind of jumping the gun as far as like where my stance is. Listen, regardless of where my stance is, which I'm going to be going over in a little bit, but regardless of where my stance is as far as OnlyFans goes, importing OnlyFans creators or like fucking even influencers who have more wholesome content into America in a visa format, I am highly against, right? I am against H-1B visas because I worked at a company that exploited H-1B visas and offshored a lot of their employees overseas to save money because that's the only thing they cared about, right? So they're fucking over American workers in support of the company because they just want a buyout at the end of the day. So I've seen that with my own fucking flesh and eyes play out, right? So I am already against H-1B visas, right? I do think we shouldn't get rid of H-1B visas as a whole. I think, yes, there are a lot of talented people around the world that can really benefit into coming to America and just like making America better as far as like from a scientific standpoint, from an engineering standpoint, from technological standpoint, wherever the case may be, right? But I do think a lot of these companies are exploiting the H-1B visas as a whole to bring these workers into America so that they don't have to pay the American workers a good wage. They can basically give these workers for H-1B visas a terrible wage that's very subpar compared to what you pay an American worker. And then since you have the visa hanging over their head, they're not going to challenge your authority whatsoever because, hey, if you got to do whatever I say, because if you don't do what I say, I'm going to kick you out the fucking country because you don't have a visa. So that's what these companies are doing, right? H-1B, from an H-1B visa standpoint. Now, the O-1B visas, I don't think we should be giving them to fucking influencers and OnlyFans creators. I'm sorry. Though that, first of all, that visa's bullshit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I can't even think of an instance where that visa can actually be of value. You know, like maybe if you're like a very famous artist, but even then, I'm like, should you be granted a visa because you're a famous artist in America? You know, I don't know, man. Like that visa, I think it's the H-1B visa kind of makes sense. The O-1B visa, I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense in my mind, not going to lie. But even if, I mean, I'm not that familiar with the visa. So you can, give me an example of, hey, Noah, this visa can be used in this instance and it can be beneficial to America and American people in this way. Cool. Please educate me if I'm ignorant. It's just I'm ignorant in the subject, right? But that being said, I still don't think we should give that specific visa to OnlyFans creators and influencers. Like, why are we letting influencers into the country to just do their fucking influencer streaming shit? Like, we have enough of those people in America. I'd rather, prop up or, have an American influencer profit off of, fucking American society than some foreign influencer. Right? Like if I'm going to pick, I don't want to have to pick, unfortunately, but if I'm going to pick, I'd rather pick the American one, right? And when I say American, I'm not saying, a white American. I'm saying American at period. Like if they're Black American, Hispanic American, white American, Asian American, I'd rather support that American no matter what ethnicity you are because they're American rather than this foreign influencer. And I'm Hispanic. If that foreign influencer is Hispanic, I'd rather support the American influencer than the foreign influencer. It's like, why are you being granted a visa over something that you can argue is not really benefiting society whatsoever, right? Maybe from a financial standpoint, but from like an overall societal culture standpoint, that's not helping. So why are we even granting visas for this shit? It doesn't make any sense. And especially for OnlyFans creators. We have enough OnlyFans creators. We make 25 to 30% of OnlyFans creator content. Like most, as you see, as I went through the numbers, like literally 30% of OnlyFans creators, at least 25, 30% of OnlyFans creators are in America. We have enough of them. We have too many of them. So like, why are we giving OnlyFans creators visas to come into America to make content to sell to the fucking, basically the men of America when we have creators here doing that shit? Like, I'd rather support the American creator than support the foreign creator. Like, go fucking sell OnlyFans content in your own country. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is a joke. This is a joke. This is what we come to in America. This is sad. Like, it's pathetic. It's what it is. I'm sorry to say it, but it's pathetic, man. Like, this is ridiculous. We shouldn't be granting visas for this shit, Like, what are we doing? You shouldn't have access to America when you're doing this kind of fucking content. Anyway, we're moving forward here. I went on a tangent there. Sorry about that one, guys. All right? So, yeah, that's what the Trump administration is doing. Gotta love the Trump admin, right, guys? So, that's basically it. For the most part, those are all the numbers that I could have found. And sorry, I was glancing over that way. I was looking at my phone, making sure I was reading through everything. So that's basically it, right? Now, you can probably guess my stance on OnlyFans as a whole. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the OnlyFans. I'm not going to lie, right? I think it's getting too out of control. I think this is very bad from a societal standpoint. I think, and listen, I'm going to address this first. I can get into everything later. A lot of people, when you talk about OnlyFans being bad, you talk about OnlyFans being negative and how it's bad for like specifically women, the first rebuttal is always, but the guys are the ones buying it. Blame the guys for buying it. 100%. I agree with you. Men should not be buying this shit. That's why I don't buy it. That's why I've never bought it. First of all, fucking the hub is free. What are we doing? The hub is free. Why are you spending money on OnlyFans when you got the hub? You have multiple other platforms too besides the hub. You got different variations of the hub. So why are you spending money on that stuff? You can find this shit for free. This is not like the early 90s where you had to like fucking buy a pay-per-view and shit. Like those days are long gone, bro. The dog days are over. We don't have to do that anymore. So why are we reverting back? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, but I can't see this person on the hub. If you do enough searching, you can probably find a clip or two floating out there. But like, you really need to see that specific person? Like, is that the only person that's going to get the job done at the end of the day? What are we doing? You know, you're just wasting money at that point. You're throwing money to the wind. For what? For temporary glorification? Glorification was the correct word, but I know you guys know what I mean. I'm trying to figure out the correct word. My mind is fleeting right now, but it doesn't matter. You guys get it, right? So it's like, what are we doing at this point? Like, why are we even wasting money on this? So yes, I do agree. Men should not be spending money on this. 100%. Men need to clean up their act and get it together and not spend money on this and stop with the gambling, which is another topic that I really want to cover later. Like, I 100% agree, right? But we saw that most of the creators are women. So we addressed that most of the consumers are men. We bashed them already. They're wrong. Shouldn't be buying this shit. 100%. Sorry, ladies. Most of the creators are women, as we see. From fucking 70 to 84%, right? So now you have to get bashed. And listen, I get it. Work sucks. I totally understand. Having a job fucking sucks. Everyone will agree with that. It doesn't matter what job you're working. Everyone dreads Sunday. And why is that? Because the next day is Monday and you have to go to work. I don't care how much you fucking love your job or you say you love your job. I love how you can ask anyone, right? Anyone. I've seen this play out multiple times. Ask anyone. If you hit the lottery when it was like a fucking $1.5 billion, you hit the lottery right now, what you do? Even the people that say they love, even the people that say they love their job, they all say, you know what? I'll fucking buy Epstein Island or I'll disappear. No one ever see me. I'll quit. Like, so you don't love your job that much. Because if you won the lottery and you got $1 billion, if you truly love your job, you're like, you know what, man? I'm going to clock in Monday. Like, no one ever says that. So we can all acknowledge that, yes, you may like your job to a certain extent. Maybe you like it more in your previous jobs. But if money wasn't an issue, you wouldn't be working there. You wouldn't want to be working there, right? So working sucks. We can all agree on that, right? We can all agree on that. We're all adults here. But to sell your body as the alternative... And the issue is, it's so okay in society nowadays, right? We kind of degraded society to the point where people can just sell their bodies online behind a paywall and it's okay. That's not okay. We need to go back to how things were. Like, people, we need to bring shame back, right? And listen, I'm all for, if you're an adult, do whatever the fuck you want at the end of the day. I'm not going to tell you what you can or can't do. I'm not saying that OnlyFans should be illegal, right? It should still be legal. You should still have the choice to do it. Same thing with porn. You should still have the choice to go into porn or not. But we're not going to sit here and normalize it. That's my biggest issue. We can't normalize this behavior. We already normalized this behavior, so it's too fucking late. But we can't continue to normalize this behavior because it's not normal. It's not normal. It never will be normal. Right? So, and ladies are the ones who are making most of the fucking content, as we can see from the numbers go. So, like, ladies, you got to be bashing this one, man. Like, yo, selling your body is not a great alternative to working a job. Now, listen, there's instances where you're like, yo, I need this. You know, like, I was working a job, I couldn't make money. I started doing OnlyFans, and, like, you know, now I can pay for stuff. Now I can pay my rent and that kind of stuff. Like, I get it. I totally get it. Even then, man, I don't I still disagree with it because listen, if it was the opposite, right? If we had only pipes, where it's just most of the creators were dudes and most of the women were buying it, right? And I was struggling. I wouldn't put my Puerto Rican meat out there, man. Purposely, I wouldn't put it out there behind the paywall, even if I was struggling. Why? Because I don't want to deal with societal ramifications of doing that, man. I don't want to deal with the shame of doing that because you're never going to live that down. You will never live that down. If you have done OnlyFans, right? You're always going to be known for that. Same thing with porn. If you've done porn, you're always going to be known for that. And I'm okay with that. I think that is part of the decision making. You, at the end of the day, you reap what you sow. If you sowed that, people will always remember you for that. Period. There's nothing you can do about it. You can cry and complain. You can try to have it taken down. Doesn't matter. They would always remember you for that thing. And not only that, once something's on the internet, is on the internet, even if you think it's all scrubbed, bro, there's someone who still has that video that can post it on Twitter or some other fucking platform, right? So you have to deal with that. That's your decision making, right? You're reaping what you sow. So if you're going to create this content, understand there's going to be a lot of negative ramifications for it. Yeah, you might make a lot of money, but there is a lot of people that don't like it. You know, there's a lot of people that are very against it. There's a lot of people that find it shameful. But not only that, a lot of dudes, it's because I'm saying this for the women because women are the ones who are primarily making the content. There's a lot of dudes who are just like, yo, I don't want to date a girl who does OnlyFans. I'm one of them. I wouldn't want to date a girl who has done OnlyFans. I don't care if you have done it for like a month and then you decide not to anymore. I wouldn't want to date you if you've done OnlyFans. I'm sorry. You know, listen, there's probably a lot of amazing girls who've done OnlyFans, and there's probably a lot of girls who've done OnlyFans who only posted like bikini stuff. And at the end of the day, bro, you still sold yourself. You still sold your soul. You know, is that aspect. Yes, you may have posed nude or maybe even more explicit content, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, you sold your soul. You were like, you know what, man, I'm pretty. I can make money. I'm going to go the easy route. And I just can't respect that. Same thing for guys, man. I would be even harsher for guys. This is a guy and only, is this guy's fucking, if I met a dude who's like, yo, I make OnlyFans content, yo, I'm shitting on you. I'm clowning you. I'm telling you to hit the oil rig. I'm telling you to hit the construction site. Like, what the fuck are you doing as a dude making OnlyFans content? What the fuck is this, man? Like, I'm not as harsh as, I wouldn't be as harsh on the women as I am for the man, but for the dudes, man, I'm making fun of you. I don't care. You say, oh, I was able to do this, or I was able to do that with women, or I was able to pay for this, pay for that. Yeah, bro, you still sold your soul. You're still selling your junk out. You still put your junk out there, bro. Like, you're not getting any respect. It doesn't matter how much money you make, who you're able to sleep with because of OnlyFans. You're still not getting any respect, bro. Everyone's still looking down on you. Everyone's still going to be like, yo, you're a joke. That's what it is. That's the ramifications of your actions. You're sowing those seeds. So listen, if you're going to make that content, understand that's what's it going to be. That's how people are going to look at you. Not everyone, of course. That's how most people are going to look at you. You can't sit there and cry about it and complain about it. Because at the end of the day, that's the decision, that's the route you chose. That's the path you've chosen, you know? That was your decision. So I think as a whole, man, we can't have a whole generation of women from the ages of early 20s to early 30s doing OnlyFans. And yes, you may say, oh, it's only 4.6 creators, right? And if it's, 70 to 80% of women making the content, that's what? If it's 4.6 million creators, 70 to 80% of women making the content, that's around like 3.5 to 4 million women making content, right? Now, when you look at it from a global standpoint, it's very small. But here's the thing, the influence of that, it's what's hurting your generation. Yes, it's not a huge percentage of women compared to like the general masses of women around the world or even within America, but it's the influence of that. Because now we see all that fucking content on Instagram, right? We see all those fucking like like these, it's like they're making little teasers, right? It's like they're making like, oh, like thirst trap videos. They're making thirst trap videos on Instagram for you to click that video, for you to see, oh damn, she got a fat ass. Let me check that profile. And you check the profile and you see the link on the profile in his OnlyFans, right? Then you can see that all over fucking Instagram, all over all social media nowadays, right? So that is influencing the youth of America, especially in regards to the women, because women are the ones who are primarily making the OnlyFans content. And it's influencing the men to pay for that content. So this is not healthy. You know, we can't have this as a functional society of just dudes gooning and women making the content the dudes to goon to. We can't have this. Like, we need and online, there's a whole bunch of people that are like, blaming the women and blaming the men and doing one or the other. Bro, it's both are to blame. The men are to blame for buying it. The women are to blame for creating it. So now both parties are to blame, and we realize that both parties are fucking ruining society. How can we stop it? How can we fix it? It's going to have to take the men to stop buying the content first. Once men all collectively stop buying the content, the women will stop creating the content. You know, if a woman is making $1 million a year from OnlyFans, there's no change in her life or her fucking psyche that's going to stop her from giving up $1 million. You know, other than her probably turning to Christ and turning a new leaf. Like, there's no change that's going to make this woman wake up and be like, yo, I just don't want to make content anymore. I'm giving this $1 million away. This $1 million a year lifestyle, yeah, I don't want this anymore, man. I'm just going to go back to working a normal job. No one's going to do that. So I do think it's going to have to be a push from the men to stop paying for this content. But also I think women collectively, especially older generations of women, need to sit the current generation down, younger generation down, and say, hey, don't go in this path. This is not good for you. This is shameful. We're going to have to bring shame back. You know, we're going to have to bring shame back collectively as a whole from society, not just within OnlyFans, but just like in total, man. Like, there's a lot of people doing a lot of weird shit in America right now. And listen, man, should you be allowed to do it? If you're not breaking the law, cool, but we shouldn't normalize it. You know, we shouldn't just accept it. Like, you should feel some kind of weirdness when you are doing this shit. And the issue is that's not happening anymore. It's being justified. It's being justified through money. And that's the issue, man. This country is so money focused that we would literally sell our souls for a profit. We would degrade our own self-image just for money. And you can argue, if things weren't as expensive in America as they are right now, and things weren't as bleak as in America as they are right now, that women and dudes wouldn't have to go to this. We'll have a more functioning society. So you can argue that as well. But listen, the change has to come from somewhere, man. It has to come from somewhere. So listen, I am very against OnlyFans. I think if you're a guy, dude, stop subscribing to this shit. Like, go on the hub or something as an alternative, a free alternative. Granted, that's negative too. That's bad too. I'm just trying to stop you from wasting your money on shit that you can see in other places. And if you're a woman thinking about doing OnlyFans, one, please don't do it. Even if it is or sounds lucrative, you're never going to live that down. You're going to have that societal ramifications for the rest of your life. Men, you're going to get to know a dude. You're going to like him. He's going to find out do OnlyFans. He's not going to want you. And I'm not saying you can't find a guy who's going to want you if you are doing OnlyFans. Obviously you can. That dude's going to be a little weird though. Like, he's going to be fucking like a sexual deviant kind of guy. If that's the kind of guy you want, then I guess go ahead. But dude, I feel like men and women are different, right? Men and women are fundamentally different. We're different in a lot of ways. I feel like one of the things that women need to really hold on and cherish is, of course, still their self-image, and self-image in terms of like their purity in a way, you know, because as a guy can kind of get away with being promiscuous. Is it a bullshit double standard? 100%. It's a bullshit double standard, but guys can kind of get away with it, unfortunately. Women, on the other hand, you can't get away with it. Even now in society, you really can't get away with it. And is that unfair? Yeah, you can argue it's unfair, but unfortunately, that's life and that's just what it is. So when you are making this content and you are living this life of promiscuity, I just botched the fucking word there, but you know what I was trying to say. But when you're living that kind of lustful life, man, you're just making content for dudes to goon to, you're never going to live that down. That self-image will be there for the rest of your life. People will always remember that. Do you want that? Do you want to be 20 years from now being remembered for content you made in your early 20s because you saw some girl do it online and she was making a lot of money, so you just followed the money? I don't think it's worth it, man. I don't think selling your soul is worth it for any price, right? So this is my rant. I can keep going, but I'm probably going to start talking in circles, unfortunately, so I'm going to cut it short here. Hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. But yeah, we should probably do away with OnlyFans in 2025, man. We gotta get it together from a societal standpoint. So your boy's not a fan of the OnlyFans. So I'll catch you guys next week. Hope you guys enjoyed this rant, this episode, and catch you on the flip side, guys. Bye.